This is a CB bar. It's something that I make and sell to help people install a full-size CB radio, ham, GMRS, or even race radio in a Jeep JL Wrangler or JT Gladiator. Of course, showing you how to install one is not the purpose of this video. For that, I've got links in the description below, and they should help you out. Now, this video is being made to show you just how easy it is to install one of these. This is an antenna mount that I also make and sell, and it's designed specifically to be mounted to the tailgate of a Jeep JL Wrangler. As you can see, it's made out of stainless steel, and it, as well as all its components, are purposely left unfinished to help provide optimal ground. So, to get this thing installed, the first thing we're going to need to do is remove the spare tire. And for that, this backup camera cover will need to come off. As you can see, a Torx 40-bit will be needed to unlock it. As luck would have it, the handy toolkit that comes with your JL has one in it. With that out of the way, the lug nut securing the spare to the tailgate can now be removed, and a 22mm socket will be needed for that. Alright, now we can get working on the antenna mount. And to get started, we're going to be removing these two bolts, securing the upper tailgate hinge to the tailgate. And for that, I'll be needing a Torx 55-bit. Now, if you don't have an electric ratchet like this, I'm going to highly recommend that you use a much larger ratchet or even a small breaker bar, as that'll help give you the leverage needed to break these bolts free of their paint. Okay, now we can assemble our antenna mount. And we're going to take our flange bolts, slip them through the holes, place the spacers on both, and add on the washers as well. I should note that this mount can be installed with this flange pointing in the up position, but if you've got a factory tire carrier and spare like we do, it'll need to be mounted in the down position. As you can see here, this mount is purposefully designed with this angle to help clear the sidewall of the factory spare. With that said, a 15mm socket will be needed to secure them in place. And tighten to 35 foot-pounds of torque. And that's all there is to it, or at least as far as the mount is concerned anyway. Now for the fun part. This is a typical stud mount for an antenna. And to install it, you just need to take it apart, insert the male portion through the bottom of the mount, slide on the nylon washer, making sure that the step part is pointing down, and seat it in the hole. Add on a washer, lock washer, and then the female portion of it to the top. And a 5/8" wrench and ratchet will be needed to secure it in place. Alright, time to wire everything up. So, as you can see, this coax cable is made by Wilson. And there are a couple reasons why I like to use this one in particular, and the first of which is because it comes in a standard 18-foot length. And that means it'll fit any 2-door or 4-door Jeep with ease. The other reason why I like it is because it comes with a standard connection on one end and a mini connection on the other that can be converted back into a standard connection using this adapter. Of course, the smaller end makes it a lot easier to fish into your Jeep and route it cleanly to your radio. Now, to get this coax cable inside of our Jeep, first thing we're going to need to do is remove this rubber plug from the tailgate. Now, using a trim pry tool like this, the plastic trim on the back of the tailgate can be removed as well. Alright, so now the coax cable can be attached to the mounting stud like so. And then the small end can be fished into this hole like so. There it is. All right. Okay, and you just want to pull just enough through so that there's a little bit of slack in the line going to the hole. All right, now I'm going to take the rubber plug that I removed from the tailgate earlier and drill a 1/4 inch hole through the center of it. Now I'm going to take a utility knife and cut a slit from the center all the way to the outside of the plug. And now we can reinstall the plug. So before I reinstall the plastic trim on the back of the tailgate, there are a couple things I'd like to do, and the first of which is to install a ground strap to connect the tailgate to the frame. Without it, the tailgate won't provide enough of a ground, and that can lead to poor radio performance. Using a universal 60-inch ground strap, you can attach it to the back side of the upper hinge bolt and then secure it in place using an M10-1.5 nut. This is actually a really common nut that's used throughout a JL Wrangler, and if you've done any mods, you can recycle one of those. Otherwise, you'll need to pick one up from the hardware store. Using a 16mm socket, you can now secure this nut in place. Alright, from here we just need to open up the back cubby, open up the jack compartment, remove the jack, as well as the tools, and then remove the drain plug. From here we just need to take the ground strap and kind of follow it along and route it down the trim. Bring it into the cubby and through the drain plug. Reinstall the drain plug. Alright, so before we can do anything else, I'm going to need to open up this end. I don't know why, but for some reason it is smaller than what I need it to be, even though the other end is big enough. So I'm going to take a pair of dikes and just cut it. And then I'm going to use a pair of pliers to help me open it up some until this bolt fits through it. That'll do it. Okay. All right. Now, if you got your Jeep with the tow package, there are going to be a couple bolts right here securing the trailer plug to the rear cross member. And even if you didn't, these holes still exist and they are threaded, so you can take yourself an M10-1.5 bolt, a really common bolt throughout the Jeep, and use it to secure your ground strap to the cross member. Of course, you're going to need an 16mm socket to secure it in place. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to just pull a little of that extra slack back into the cubby so it's not hanging all over the place. Pop our tools in and our jack back in. And then put the cover back on. Alright, now that the tailgate's been grounded, the other thing I wanted to do was clean up the wiring. So I'm going to use a couple zip ties here and just have it follow the wiring harness that's already present. And finally, the plastic trim can be reinstalled. There. On the home stretch, all I need to do is get this cable routed to our radio, and being that I have it mounted onto our CB bar, I prefer to do it through the roll bar trim. And to do that, a Torx 25-bit will be needed to remove these screws. And before I can go any further, I will need to remove the bolt securing the CB bar to the roll bar. Alright, now using my trim pry tool again, I'm going to go ahead and start separating the plastic trim to create myself a route. There we go. Okay. Get all the way to the front now. Now we can take our coax cable and start routing it to the front. Just tuck it behind everything. On a 4-door, this thing will go all the way to the front without any extra slack. But on a 2-door, I know it's going to be a little bit long. So I'm just going to go ahead and do a quick measurement to see how much I need. So this is the beauty of having this mini end. We were able to route the whole cable through the Jeep cleanly, and now I'm going to shove it through the CB bar itself and route it to the radio. All right, now I can attach the adapter to this mini end right here. Use a 5/16 inch wrench to tighten it in place. And then, last but not least, plug it into the radio. Perfect. Now all I got to do is put everything back together. And that is all there is to it. As is the case with any good antenna, you'll want to make sure to tune it using an SWR meter for optimal performance. Now, I know I went through a whole ton of tools and parts, and you'll be happy to know that I actually have links for all of them in the description below. Also, for those of you who want to help support us by wearing some of our swag, I've got a link for that as well. Thank you. Radio check.
Read you loud and clear.